Hey, today we are going to talk about the 5 worst things that you can be doing after your workout. Now, we always talk about the training part. We think about the workout itself and the exercises and the reps and the volume and all those things, and that's important, but really that's just half of what we're looking at. So the next thing is we want to talk about what are you doing after your workout. The number one thing that we want to avoid after your workout is alcohol consumption. So you might be thinking, well, I don't really think about going out for a drink after I work out, but just keep this in mind, okay, that consumption of alcohol is going to increase cortisol, decrease testosterone, and really that's pretty important, obviously, right? As far as having testosterone levels high, cortisol levels low for optimal muscle growth. The other thing is we know that alcohol consumption reduces muscle protein synthesis by somewhere between 24 and 37%. So that's a pretty significant number when it talks about affecting what is happening after we consume alcohol, if we're doing it right after we eat. So what happens is the body prioritizes the alcohol metabolism over fat metabolism. So fat loss gets slowed as well. We talked about the protein synthesis that gets slowed down as well. So what can we do instead? Well, number one, we want to stay hydrated. If it's an electrolyte drink, sometimes I have the powder form, or I just pour it into my drink that I'm taking with me to the gym, and I might drink that, but something to keep us hydrated, and also for post-workout, drinking water to stay hydrated, the electrolytes to get restored as well. Now, here's the other thing. If you are going to be drinking alcohol, so let's say you're going to go out for the night, maybe you work out in the evening, and you're going out with your buddies or something like that. The thing to do is make sure that you're consuming quality protein before you get to consuming the alcohol. And here's the other thing about the alcohol to keep in mind is alcohol is liquid calories, so it's really easy to overconsume calories. So just be aware of that. All right, number 2 is taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. So I'll give you an example. I recently had a minor injury. It wasn't really a weight training related injury, but it affected my ability to work out. And as a result, the doctor prescribed me non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. So I am taking those, and he gave me some instructions about training and things like that. And, as we talk about in the channel, I'm getting wiser. And so I'm actually following the doctor's advice instead of saying no, I can just go to the gym and just, grit my teeth and tough it out. So what this medication does is it suppresses muscle protein synthesis. It also reduces muscle protein synthesis. And they did a test with a placebo group. There was a 76% increase in testosterone versus the group that was taking the anti-inflammatories. And now here's the other thing. Inflammation is part of the natural muscle repair process, okay? So if we start to block that inflammation ability with the medication, we start to limit our body's ability to grow and add muscle. So like I said, in my case, my doctor actually advised me that I should not go back to the gym until I've done my prescription and am pain free. So why would you take these otherwise? Well, sometimes we take these for, we have pain issues, maybe, and mine is like I said, I had an injury issue, but a pain issue, or maybe you have some muscle issues with mobility and things like that. But the best thing to do instead of that, the best thing to do would be some stretching post-workout, maybe some foam rolling, maybe some active recovery work. And these things will help your muscles and help the pain if you're working through pain. Something else to consider, and I did this with my issue was with my foot, And when it happened, I did this specifically as well, which is hot and cold treatment. So for me, I didn't jump in a hot shower, cold shower, or anything like that, but I did put you keep my foot in hot water, a bucket of hot water, and then bring it out, and then cold with ice. So I did that back and forth to help the healing process. So that's mistake number 2, is taking some kind of anti-inflammatory after the workout. Okay, number 3 is skipping the cool down. And I would say there's a couple of these, but this one for sure, I'm guilty of sometimes just skipping the cool down. The thing about cooling down appropriately is if we just stop and we leave ourselves at an elevated heart rate, it doesn't get to come down gradually. We actually limit recovery by doing that. So, we want to just make sure we're taking the time to slow down. Maybe you're going to do a set at the very end just to wind down a little bit. But here's the thing, skipping a cool down can lead to injury, can lead to poor flexibility, and can certainly lead to tight muscles. So what should I do? Well, you know what? 5 or 10 minutes of low intensity movements is all it takes to get your heart rate lowered. So you could do that on a treadmill, like low intensity, right? So we're not talking about you jumping on the treadmill and this is high intensity training or something like that. So you can do that by walking on a treadmill for 5 or 10 minutes. You can do that by stretching post-workout. And like I said, that's probably my biggest one, is because we all operate on time. We have a time schedule and things like that. And as I've said, I'm a single dad. So once I'm done at the gym, I'm heading home to get my daughter ready for school, pack everybody's food, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm not going to make the stretching. I'm just going to get straight to, I do cardio at the end. We'll talk about that here as well, because that's one of the things that's in here, but we'll see how that relates. So, all right, let's go on. Number 4 is not prioritizing protein. Now, we talk about protein a lot on the channel because the importance of it for muscle building, I believe, cannot be overstated. So, and especially as we get older. So older adults, we have an issue with anabolic resistance, which is our body's resistance to synthesizing protein and using that protein. So getting enough protein is even more critical as we age. So making sure that we get enough protein, and really the studies show that somewhere between 20 and 40 grams of protein post-workout is ideal and significantly increases protein synthesis, which is ultimately what we're after, because we're trying to gain muscle. And so what happens? Well, if we're not consuming enough protein, obviously we're going to limit our gains. Pretty simple. That one's pretty easy. So again, what should I be doing? Well, let's aim for somewhere between that 20 to 45 grams, 30 to 45 grams of protein in my post-workout meal. And really, best sources, I've done episodes on the channel about best protein sources, and I'll put the link in this description. You can go back and have a look at it. But like whey protein, chicken, eggs, other lean cuts of meat, fish, that kind of thing. Those are the ideal. Okay, so let's go on. Number 5, and this is the one I said that I do at the end of my workout. And number 5 not to do is cardio after lifting. Now, I'll get to qualifying how I do it and why that makes sense. So here's the thing. Studies show that the same day lifting and cardio reduces hypertrophy and strength gains. Now, you might be saying, well, when do I do my cardio? I mean, I only have so much time. Hang on, we'll get there. So what we've seen is that the cardio, even if it's lower body cardio, so you're walking, right, and you've trained upper body, the cardio can still affect your upper body in terms of muscle growth, okay? So what's the better alternative? And maybe it's doing cardio on a separate day. Maybe it's doing cardio after a longer break. Here's the thing for me, that is not realistic at all. Okay, I am at the gym first thing in the morning so that I can get it done, because I understand my day can fill up, and as I said, I have other responsibilities in business and in family and in life. So that's not realistic for me. So here's the other part of what we can do, and this is what I do, is if we combine it, is keep the intensity low. So I'm not doing high intensity cardio, and I'm not doing super long cardio either. So, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that's kind of as far as I'm going for it. So for the cardio. Now, pre-contest is a whole different thing. And, we've talked about some of how that fits and what that looks like, but this is just everyday life. Like I said, it's not realistic for me to say I'm going to go to back to the gym in the evening to do cardio, and nor is that fair for my daughter to say, well, okay, see ya. I know I've only been home for a couple of hours, but I'm going to go and do my cardio. Now, that is not to say that sometimes my daughter and I might not go for a walk in the evening and as part of my cardio. But again, you have to figure out what's realistic and what works for you. Okay, so those are the 5 things to avoid, or whatever version of them works for you to avoid, so that you are maximizing your recovery and maximizing your muscle growth from your training. And I think especially as we age, these things are more and more important so that we can optimize our muscle growth and optimize our fitness and our health. So what should we be doing? Number 1, avoiding alcohol after we train. Number 2, avoiding anti-inflammatories after we train. Now, if you're taking anti-inflammatories and obviously you've talked to your doctor or whatever you're doing, that's a different thing entirely. If it just has to be that way for you, okay, fine. That's fine. Okay, number 3 is skipping cool downs. As I said, that's something I'm guilty of, but it helps with recovery to let our body and our heart rate and everything cool down appropriately. Number 4 is neglecting protein. And again, we talked about that. And number 5 is mistimed cardio or too much cardio following the workout. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for spending some time with me. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a lot. We want to get as much information out for you that you can use practically in your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s. And, here's a great thing for me. Put down in the comments, do any of these resonate with you? Is there one of these that you say, hey, yeah, that's my thing? Like I said, my thing is really, it's the cool down one. But do you have one that really hits home for you that you say, yeah, I got to work on that one? But, whatever that looks like. So thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time.